Okay, so it's what, 6:04? We'll call the meeting to order. And we have a roll call of, please mention who's here. I'm not quite sure because I can't see. But we have Tucker and Mark.
Yep.
Tucker Brannick here.
Stacy Gould.
Stacy, okay. Hi, Stacy.
Hello.
We have Bob Buckley.
Yes, Bob Buckley attending.
Shane's
And
here.
myself.
Nope, and Shane
And
Roberts.
Shane, too. There you are, Shane. Good, good. Okay, we certainly have a quorum. And did everybody get a chance to approve the minutes, to read the minutes?
Yes.
I did.
Okay, any changes or deletions or anything unusual in those minutes? Give you a minute. If no,
Make a motion that we accept the minutes from the November 23rd, 2020 meeting. This is Stacy Gould.
Okay, from
I
Stacy.
second the motion, Bob Buckley.
Okay, all in favor of approval?
Aye.
It sounds unanimous, I believe. Is it unanimous, all ayes?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, correspondence. I have no correspondence. Deanna, do you have correspondence?
We have no new correspondence.
You want to, that YMCA letter, you don't want to count that as correspondence? That's under new business.
No, the YMCA is a task order under new business, so. no.
Okay.
You know, I was unable to open that to read it, so if maybe you could go into a little detail on it under no business.
Yep, we'll do it. We're gonna call it up in just a second.
Right.
So,
Okay, so no correspondence, so we'll go right to the old business with Deanna.
yep, so Amy Valancourt is here right now, and she is going to give an update about the couple different task orders and the EPA quarterly report and the grant expenditures. So I'm going to start with Amy just talking about task orders 16 and 19, and then I'll get up to the other, I'll get up on the others for you if you want.
Okay.
So, although jumping ahead a little bit, we'll be talking about task order 20 for the YMCA. We still have task order 16 in play. And actually on Friday, we just got approval for our work under that task order from EPA. So we're going to be doing that work. Then task order 19, we just finished the draft of the phase 1 for Providence Street there. We'll be issuing that report to the city in the next week. I'm just waiting for Doug Miller, who drafted the report. He just had his first baby girl last week. So he'll be back next week and we'll get that draft out. Just to let you know what we found. So doing the phase 1, of course, it's been, recreational and basketball courts this whole time, except for the fire department, which has a building there and has been using that building. What we found for concerns, and they're very minimal, is fill material, right? Over time, that area had received some fill material that is between us, this property, and the church. Looks like it's coal, so it was probably burning of coal, maybe even from the church, deposited over there over time. The church itself looks like it had a leaking underground storage tank for some time. That could potentially, impact the groundwater beneath this property, but nobody's drinking the groundwater. And lastly, the use of pesticides, herbicides, because it has been recreational field since 1934. So that was brought up as a potential concern. But other than that, it's not like we recommended anything further for investigation. It's remaining a same use.
So there's not necessary to do any additional investigation, Amy, on this?
No, I understand that this phase one was done to actually implement a grant that came from another funding agency. So, protocol, you'll give them our phase one if they feel that there's a need for, them to push for that. But the fact that it's been the same use forever, all you want to do is put in basketball courts. The EPA quarterly report, we just submitted the one at the beginning of this year. Overall, EPA, even though you've stretched out your grant and you've got a couple exceedances, extensions, of the grant period, you've actually done more with this funding than what you said you were going to do in your application. So it's looking really good. You'll see as Deanna goes on through with the budget, how many properties we've actually assessed with the funding.
You ready for me to show that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So here's the expenditures.
Yeah, so 19 properties so far. Those are just the ones we've been under contract with. Deanna, there's got to be another 20 or so that, under project support, we've done these little, quick looks for, you guys, NCDC, property owners, developers. So really, stretched every dollar on this grant. There is the first column with the dollars is the amount of the task order. And then what we did is we broke it up, if it's hazardous funds or petroleum funds. And then what was used. Some of these projects, like One Hilltop, came off. The developer for One Hilltop decided to not go and wait for approval for use of EPA funds. Some of them, like American Legion, we were under budget. Also Norwich State Hospital. So we had tracked at the end, in our columns, what was spent to date as of the date of this report, which I think was February 11th. So we still have some funding to spend. Petroleum and hazardous are tied up on YMCA. We will end up with a bit of petroleum funding left. At the bottom, I think Deanna will have 30,000. What's that
So the
number?
number here on the all the way to the end for hazardous.
Yeah, what's that? 35,800.
79 for Petro.
Right, you'll have that left over. The hazardous for the 37,000, we gave you task order 20 for IMCA.
Okay. Amy, just really quickly, when you mentioned the Norwich State Hospital coming in lower and the American Legion, can you explain, because on the column here, just to clarify on the spreadsheet, it says task order value, and then if you go all the way across, it looks like it was all spent. So.
Oh, you know what I did here, so it wouldn't look like we have task orders over the amount. I must have adjusted that. I could go back and tell you how much we were under for those.
Okay. That would be
Usually our budgets are round numbers. So if I had to guess, American Legion was probably like 25,000. Norwich State Hospital was probably 45,000.
Oh, you mean for like the original amount? So you,
yes.
Okay,
yeah.
and I can pull those if anyone wants to know. You don't have to tell me. I'll look at number 11 and 14. Actually, while you continue, I'll take you 2 seconds to pull that up.
Okay. So the numbers at the bottom of that are, balances of time bond contracts, but then other funds were spent out of the grant for removal of the tank at Uncas Leap, some travel for Deanna to attend the Brownfield conference that EPA has, and supplies that were during some public outreach.
So I'm going to just jump in real quickly. So task order number 11 that Amy has here, they spent $43,751. It was approved for $45,500. And then the American Legion, which was task order number 14. Hold on a second. American Legion, it was approved for a second here. We're $32,200 and we
Yep.
spent $23,280.
Yep.
So that was great. Thanks, Amy.
Deanna, if I can jump in at this point on the marina, we
Yeah.
did some environmental work through NCDC for the marina. I think we did at least a phase 1 recently. So if we wanted to fill in data, you know, we could get that information from NCDC.
Yep, that's fine. This is just the work under this EPA contract.
Right, no, I understand, but for our database, if we wanted to fill it in, we do
I
have
have
that.
it. I
We
have
do.
that
Oh, you have it
paper.
already.
Yep, I
Okay,
have it.
perfect,
Not a problem.
perfect.
So
Okay.
again, this was to be able to do some testing on the site too, and you know, to do a little bit more. And what ended up happening is we weren't going to send it out for testing. They were just, Amy was going to look at some of the soil samples, and we could not get the owner, Mr. Doyle, to approve doing that. So because he didn't want to trigger anything. So at that point, we didn't do anything. And we've just kind of right now almost absorbed that money back in. Correct, Amy? That money's
Yes.
now been recaptured.
You'll see task order 9 was the actual phase 1 for the marina,
Right there.
which is probably the one
Okay,
NCDC has.
Okay,
Then, as Deanna said, our phase 1 recommended a phase 2 and we scoped it out. We had negotiations. That fell through with the current owner, and then somebody else came in, they were interested, Deanna, and that kind of resurrected again, but then, yes, fell through. So,
Yeah. Because
You know, that-
whoever was interested, again, it was the leasee is the Mr. Doyle that has the lease, and he was not going to allow that testing to happen. So we're now recapturing that money back into this totals, right?
correct. Same thing with task order 5. You'll see that was going to be the Dungeons and Dragons restaurant, right, Deanna?
Yeah, it was like what was it, medieval, Renaissance restaurant or something.
Castle, yeah.
Yep.
is that the old school, Deanna?
Yeah, it was.
Huh.
Yep. And they were really interested. They were hot to go, and then it just kind of fell apart. So.
You know, I had a mortgage on that when I was at Eastern. And we did a fair bit of environmental work at that time. So if you were to ask John Mancini nicely, he might share those reports with you.
Okay.
For that building. I mean, they'd be about 10 years old, but maybe 12 years old, but I don't think there's been any environmental.
We originally approved, just so you know, we originally approved $12,000 worth of work there to do, some different tasks there. It wasn't just a phase 1. There was a lot of work, to do there and do sampling and stuff, and it just didn't happen. So kind of what's going on. So again, we still did a lot of projects, but a few of them we recaptured money. So a little was spent, as you can see that, like Amy just said, that, it's been $907 because there was some work going forward, and then it kind of just fizzled,
Right. As I say, if you wanted some historical, I think John has the report that we had done probably 12 years ago, 13 years ago on that site.
Okay, thank you. I'll keep that in mind. So after you done, oh, go ahead, Mark.
I see task order 18, there's what, about a $1,600 difference there?
Amy for 49 Church Street, that was the brewery property.
Yeah, so I haven't closed that yet until they've finished their project. They're just like, getting in there. We just finished concrete core sampling and doing some asbestos sampling for them to do their renovation. So we'll wait for them to get in there and get settled. They could come across some other materials breaking down a wall and need some additional sampling. But as of right now, I think that's what we're at, 11,951.
We might want to leave that in. That's not counted in yet in here, or has it already been absorbed in here?
It's already counted in there as 13,500 under
Okay.
hazardous, yeah.
All right.
As you go along, if they don't need any more, that's gonna get sucked back up and you're gonna see the number go up a little.
Okay.
With task order 20, you're or planning on assigning the balance of the hazardous to task 20, is that correct?
Correct.
So then that'll leave us the 35,879 in Petro funds still available.
Correct.
All right, and we have to use that by, what is it,
September.
September?
We'll have to be finished with the whole project by September. So, you know, we would
End
want
of
to use that,
September?
you know, months before that.
By September 30?
Yes, that's the closeout date. Everything has to be done by then.
All right.
So, all right. If there's no more questions, Jim, do you want to move on? Let's see if he's still here. Jim, are you
Jim,
there?
Turn your unmute.
I'll unmute him.
This is Tucker Braddock asking a question.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Amy, in our testing, is the state of Connecticut test more stringent than what the federal government's tests are as far as parts per million or parts per 100,000?
No, whenever we develop a task order like 20 that we're going to talk about for the YMCA, and we develop
Right.
any kind of sampling plan, I have to send that sampling plan into EPA. It's called a QAP, a Quality Assurance Project Plan. I have to tell them what I'm going to sample, how I'm going to sample it, how my lab's going to analyze it, what they're going to analyze it for, you know, what equipment, what's the equipment limitations. It's really a heck of a document. So in that document, I have to tell EPA, hey, here are my state regulations. Here's what my state allows. So states can be more stringent than EPA, but they can't be less stringent. So
Okay.
I have to add the state requirements in my federal document, and I have to abide by those.
So is Connecticut more stringent than what the federal government is?
Yes,
That's my question.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tucker. Was I muted before?
Yes, and I unmuted you, so I'm going to keep you unmuted.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to compliment Amy and you too, Deanna, for all the hard work on this, because I think that's a very impressive list of properties that we've, let's say, we've assisted over the last year and a half or two.
Well, congratulations to all of you too. I mean, this is a collaboration, you know, that's been really important that the city's been working on. And Mr. Rich is coming in right now too, so I'm going to admit him. He's just
Oh, good. Okay.
Richard. So, but no, this is really good work that the RDA's been doing. So,
Okay.
thank you for your showing up at these meetings and looking at task orders, which goes on to new business. If you're welcome, if you allow me to move on to that.
Yep, it's time to move on to new business.
All right, so let me get there. Okay, we'll start with the letter.
The floor is yours, Deanna. There's that letter.
Okay, so this letter was submitted. This was what kicked in the task order. We've been talking about this for a while. This came in from the Public Works Department. I won't read it. I'll just leave it up on the screen for a minute. Basically asking us to do some additional work at the YMCA. The city is in the process of foreclosing on the YMCA. We've talked about this before. It's not super common knowledge, but it's taking a while because of the ownership issues. And the intention is at some point that we will go out to RFP, I'm assuming, and for redevelopment of the site. So far, it has appeared based on phase one that Amy did and in the actual inspections of the building over the years that it's not in super great shape. Oh, I don't know why Robert, hold on, I gotta respond. Robert's not hearing anything, so I don't know. I'm gonna tell him to turn his volume up, so hold on. No, we should be able to hear us. So anyway, so what's happening here is Public Works has asked that we do some additional stuff, identifying the hazardous building materials, development of an abatement and demolition design with technical specifications for bidding the abatement and demolition because the building is pretty dilapidated. So this is something, if we didn't do through the grant, we'd still need to do if the city is going to demolish this. So it's saves us some money out of pocket, and it's a valuable piece of land because of its location on our main street. So I will now go to the task order, if you give me a second here.
And is he asking for more than we can do under the grant, though?
No. So, yeah. Someone should mute their if they're not talking, because I can hear a lot of background noise. I can't tell who it is. Okay, so Amy, why don't you start with talking about task order 20 here?
Sure. So, as we talked about, EPA requires us to ask for the approval, do the quality assurance project plan addendum. Now, under task order 16, we had already done these two documents. So here, it's really just updating them for the additional work we're going to be doing under task order 20. So, you know, it's just a $500, you know, quick update, send them the documents, and then updating the health and safety plan, doing the supplemental sampling. So with task order 16, when we had gone to EPA originally and we said, hey, you know, we need to do a phase 2. There were tanks here. There was a gas station or auto repair. So we want to use petroleum funds. But we also have hazardous building materials. So while the YMCA for hazardous building materials needed, you know, potentially $50,000 worth of work, EPA had told us, listen, we'll let you use petroleum funds for your initial inspection as long as you stay within 15% of the overall budget. So we came in on task order 16 with a small bit of hazardous funds, 15,500, that they're allowing us to use under the petroleum number. And we want to do that because petroleum funds are harder to spend than the hazardous funds. So in wanting to take advantage of that opportunity with EPA, we really had to split up the YMCA into two separate task orders. So a supplemental hazardous building materials assessment. We added what we needed in there to do all the sampling, to develop a full abatement demo plan for this building. With that abatement design and the technical specs, what we give you is a cost estimate too up front on what it would be to abate and demo. So you know that before you actually go out to bid. And then we added, you know, some project management meetings and assistance because the city's going to need some coordination trying to, you know, get their hands around what's required for demo of this building. There's going to be permitting. The building's over 50 years of age, you know, even though it's not significant historically, you still have to go through all the coordination with the agencies.
Do you do,
What was that?
do you do that with a historical group?
Yeah, we'll write the letter letting them know what we're doing. You know, it's a consultation. If they want something more, then we, you know, we would go back to Deanna and let her know what
Okay.
the agencies are requiring.
Okay, thank you.
Is it possible, Amy, if needed, that the petroleum funds could be used at the site? I mean, they had petroleum there.
I know, we're using as much of the petroleum funds as EPA can let us use within their policies. You know, they said, listen, if you break out your hazardous, you know, your building inspection and your work into two separate proposals, we'll let you come in under the first task order using just petroleum funds, even though you're doing inspections for the building.
Okay.
So 16, Amy, this was all going to come under, this was coming under petroleum funds, or
all of that is coming under petroleum funds. 15,500 of that is slated for just lead and asbestos work, right?
Okay. Okay, any other questions?
So we're here tonight to ask to have a motion on this task order so that we can move forward with this project.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
So that was Mark Poulos and Tucker.
Shane,
Yes, I'll second. To
No, I
go
thought it
forward
was
with it.
Shane. Wasn't it Shane that made the motion? I'm sorry.
Make the motion.
yeah,
Okay, thank you. So Shane and then Tucker seconded.
Now,
And
is
what is-
the motion for just the 37, or is it for the full balance remaining in the,
No, 37 is what the task order is for.
37, yes.
And if you
So
look
read the
here,
motion, please.
Here's the 37 is what we have left, 37,619, and we're going 37 for this task order.
Would you read the motion, please?
Oh, it's just I guess what I would say is the motion is to approve task order 20 not to exceed $37,000.
Okay, any other questions about that motion? Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
I,
It sounds unanimous.
Is there anyone that's opposed? I guess that would be the question. Okay,
No, apparently not. Good.
all right, thank you on that. Let's get back to the agenda here. So this was added to the agenda at the chairman's request. So Jim, would you like to talk about this, number 7 on the agenda?
Yes, okay, so moving on to number 7, nomination and election of officers. Well, my thought on this was, I've been, the chairman for quite some time, 5 or 6 years at least. And I just don't think it should go on forever like this. I mean, it might be nice. I think Mr. Putin's trying it, but, we don't live in Russia. But
Great job.
I think there should be an election every now and then. So that's what this is about. We don't have to have an election, but I would wonder if anybody else would be interested in being the chairman. And please just mention that you're interested. I will not have any hard feelings. But are there any nominations or any ideas from the floor?
I would be
Well, I'll
interested.
nominate Jim Cordo if he's willing to take the nomination.
We actually have the power of conscription, Stacy. I think we can conscript him for the job.
Right, I believe this is like a Superior Court nomination, Mr. Cordo. You serve until you can't breathe anymore?
I think
You know-
with someone else jumping in too, though, be careful, because I think just before you make, somebody else started to talk. So I just want to make sure, I don't know if you heard that, another person.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I wonder if Donald Trump is going to listen in on this thing. He's looking for ideas too.
Okay,
He's looking for ideas also.
I guess
Um,
people are talking over each other, and it's really hard to hear.
Okay,
Do you
I'm
want me to
sorry.
go? Do you want to go through each
I
name
hear
and
you.
see what they have any comments?
Stacy, I appreciate your nomination. Any other nominations? Well, I guess that settles that. Any, if no other nominations, please enter your vote.
So if you
Accordingly.
can say it out loud, I think, probably.
Can you hear me okay, Deanna?
I can.
I think we should vote before he changes his mind.
I think we should vote, get it done with, and get back to my cold beer.
So do you
Well,
want me to
this is
call-
Stacy Gould and I vote yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, Bob Buckley, I vote yes as well.
Rich
Mark
Trebek,
Poulos votes yes.
Rich Trebek, I vote yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that was who, the last person?
Shane.
Was voted yes, I believe.
And I vote yes. Okay, thank you.
Do we have everybody? Did you get that?
Did we get
Melinda?
Tucker?
So,
Yeah.
Hold on,
if I-
Melinda's gonna speak. Hold on, Melinda. Go ahead, Melinda.
okay, I just want to know if Bob Buckley actually seconded Stacy's motion.
I did, yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. We do have some citizens here this evening.
Okay, well, thank you all very much then. for your safety.
Congratulations, you're back.
Congratulations, Mr. Cordo, and as long as we're making nominations and election of officers, then do we need to reappoint Make a
Mr.
nomination that we reappoint Mr. Buckley as the vice chair.
Yes, we certainly do. And I would
I will
nominate, Mr. Buckley.
Okay, so it sounds like Stacy, were you nominating and then Tucker was seconding?
That was my intention, yes.
All
Okay.
right.
Hey, wait a minute, don't I have to accept though?
No,
Oh, okay,
Yes, you do.
fine, yes, I will serve as vice chair again.
So do you want us to go, we'll go through, call everybody out if that helps everybody. So we have, let's take the vote here, if it helps. Stacy,
Aye.
Stacy,
yes.
okay, Richard,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
hold on, Jim,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
and, why am I having, I can't see his name.
Shane,
Yes.
Shane, yes. You know what, Shane, you're not on my list for some reason. I think I have Jim on here twice, I'm sorry. So, Shane, okay, so sounds like it's unanimous.
Bob.
how did Mr. Buckley vote?
Mr. Buckley didn't vote.
Oh, Mr. Buckley,
Yes, that's fine, yes, I will serve again. I vote for myself.
thank you
Very
both.
good.
So thank you all for taking those important roles again.
So we have
Okay.
citizens comment, and we do have,
Can I, excuse me, Deanna.
Melinda?
I'm very sorry to interrupt, but I don't see that Shane is still in the meeting. Is
you know
Shane
what, he
still in the
is,
meeting?
I think I have his name down wrong. That's the problem. I think I have Jim Cordo twice, so.
I'm here.
Yeah,
Okay,
I know
great.
you're here, but what I did.
Thank you very much.
I was renaming Jim's iPad and I think it named you, so let me just see. It's hard to,
The one that says Jim Quarto is actually Shane.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
iPad is Jim Quarto.
Okay, so let me rename that to Shane. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it because I kept seeing Jim twice and that's why I apologize. All right, thank you. Thanks, Shane.
Okay. All
Hey,
right.
Stacy, one word of warning, don't forget we have nominations coming up soon for positions in NCDC. I won't forget this.
Okay, and I'll be there on Thursday. Mr. Buckley.
Chairman, may I move on to number 8 on your agenda?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
All right, so we have a couple people here tonight. We have Deba, who is one of the professors over at Three Rivers in the environmental program. And it's my understanding it's one of her students. I'm not quite sure. Heather is here too. So I want to welcome them and give them the opportunity, if you don't mind, for them to speak.
Okay. Hi, I'm Deba Khan-Bureau. I am a professor of environmental engineering technology at Three Rivers, like Deanna said. And my student is here with me. Actually, we were here not that long ago, a couple years ago anyway. I think Heather was here probably 3 years ago before she got deployed. And so we are thankful for having us again, Deanna, and hopefully, we can help out if there's a possibility of that. And yeah, thank you for having us.
Great, thank you.
Okay, good to have you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Deanna, do you have anything to say?
I'm sorry, I didn't know I was supposed to talk at that moment. Thank you for having me. I'm just enjoying seeing your happy faces after 3 years of being gone. So thank you again.
Welcome
Thank you
back.
for your service.
Welcome back. Good to see you, Heather.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Deanna.
All
Deanna,
right.
you could,
I guess you just need a motion to adjourn.
that's all we need now. That's right.
I'll
That's
make a
a
motion, we adjourn.
Seconded.
That was seconded by Bob Buckley.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye. Well, thank you all very much.
Enjoy the evening.
Very good.
Enjoy
evening.
that cold beer, Jim.
I certainly will. I'll be celebrating my continued post.
All right.
Thank you all.
Hey, Stace, before you get off, could I talk to you for a minute?
Certainly.
Well, I'm going to get you off of here.
I got a call a little while ago
Hold on, I'm going to end the
from
meeting.
Lester
Hold on,
Gorin.
I've got to end the
All right.
meeting.
All right,
Yeah.
Bob,
How you
I'll
doing?
call